What's up, everybody? Welcome back. I don't know what happened. If you saw me staring for a second, the thing might have messed up, but we're back. We're here. I was here earlier, but now I'm back again. We got a lot of shit to talk about today. So before we get into that, I'm doing this like it's a brand new stream. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure to post notifications, all that good shit like that here on this channel. We have the full episode on this channel. We also have clips on this channel. We got shit to talk about. They're trying to get rid of Joe Rogan. I said this already last year. I said they're going to try to get rid of him. They're going to try to Alex Jones him. They're going to try. I don't know if it's going to work, but they are going to try. We also got to talk about Candace, Owens, Bob Saget, Supreme Court blocking the mandates, the lawyers for the guys who killed young Dolph. We got to talk about that as well. And also the under-bubbling beef of NBA YoungBoy and Lil Durk. We're going to get into that as well. But main topic I'm really here to discuss is the Joe Rogan shit, because it's something I've been talking about here on this channel for a while. So you get the full podcast, SoundCloud, Spotify, iTunes. Make sure you check it out there as well. Audio versions only. Also, you can follow me on social media. Follow me on Twitter at @dfriend_. Just probably more Instagram. Go follow dfriend daily on Instagram. That's probably where I post more of my reaction to shit content, all things like that. So salute to the chat. I'm back. Was good. And we got Lydia here. She said, hey, people. So everybody in the chat, salute to everybody here. So let's get to it, right? This is an article. This is a headline. It's trending all over social media, right? Joe Rogan is being called to, kind of be tampered down because doctors and scientists call out Spotify an open letter over COVID-19 misinformation on Joe Rogan Experience. So 270 doctors, scientists, nurses, and educators have signed an open letter to Spotify urging the platform to prevent the spread of COVID-19 misinformation on, the Joe Rogan Experience podcast, right? So that's where the first step is, right? Okay, he's wildly spreading misinformation about COVID. Anybody who talks anything that's not according to the direct narrative that we want to push needs to be pushed out to the side of society, and we need to get the fuck out of here. And that's what's looking like happening to Joe Rogan. And to kind of justify this, to me, it seems like a ploy in a setup that all these things just happen to come out the same day. So this doctor thing comes out, and then a clip from his most recent podcast where he does get something wrong, right? He got something wrong when it came to myocarditis. And is it rare in people who catch COVID and get it, or people get the vaccine and get it? According to the study that he was reading, he was wrong. And people started sharing it like, look, misinformation. When in actuality, he's the guy who does a podcast. He probably reads certain things. Like I probably read certain things that tell me one thing, and then they read another thing that may tell them something else, right? Anyways, in 2020, Spotify struck a multi-million-dollar exclusive deal with Rogan. Since then, the podcast reportedly spread numerous unchecked conspiracy theories and COVID-19 misinformation to the public. The latest incident occurred when Dr. Robert Malone appeared on the New Year's Eve episode of JRE. And we talked about Dr. Robert Malone on here, how he claims he was the mRNA creator, and he just talked about the dangers of what they're doing with COVID, right? So prior to his appearance, Malone was suspended from Twitter for posting a video defending theories about the dangers of mass vaccination, specifically in children and young adults. During his podcast appearance, Malone spoke with Rogan about his self-created phrase, mass information psychosis, arguing that a third of the population is being hypnotized into wearing masks and getting vaccinated. AP News fact-checked his theory and spoke with professionals in the psychology field who claim that phrase has no academic credibility. If it's that's another red flag for me. When I see only certain people getting fact-checked and shit like that, like people is running wild on Twitter, right? And this is a thing that I can really point to. Blue check people running wild on Twitter. Say Kyle Rittenhouse killed black people. He was a white supremacist. He was all these things. I never saw a little fact-check thing under that said anything, right? Even the other day, Joe Biden got on a stage somewhere talking about voting rights and said he was arrested during a civil rights thing. One of the biggest fact check organizations gave him 4 Pinocchios. He's lying. I don't see nobody talking about that shit. But everybody else, we got to, push them out, push them aside, silence. No president's fucking lying about being arrested during civil rights. Why would he lie about something like that? Anyways, Malone's appearance is just one of many misinformed concerns, including in the open letter. Rogan has promoted the use of ivermectin, a drug that hasn't been approved by the FDA and treat COVID. He has also suggested that young, healthy people shouldn't get vaccinated, but has retracted that statement. But I mean, is that misinformation or is that his opinion? Because statistically, we see that young, healthy people aren't severely, impacted by COVID. So I don't understand how that's considered misinformation. To me, that seems like, hey, you're not going with our narrative of vax, vax, vax. So that's considered misinformation. Even though statistically, young, healthy people aren't really affected by COVID-19. And we're seeing that come back around now. I was watching, I don't remember what I was watching. The CDC put out, I don't want to misquote it, but something like, if you're a bigger person, if you're fat, you're kind of more at risk to be fucked up by COVID, right? There's a blue checkmark person said, when did fat shaming become part of CDC policy? Is that fat shaming, or are they giving you the correct science and data that goes along with COVID? Because do you want the nice data or do you want the real data? Because everybody's saying follow science. And if the science states that fat people are more affected by COVID, then I mean, like a motherfucker like me, I should be scared, right? But I'm not looking at that as fat shaming. So why is she saying fat shaming if that's what it is? So do you care about the facts or do you not care about the facts? That's the only thing I want to know. And even when it comes to the ivermectin shit with Joe Rogan, if his doctor gave him ivermectin, his doctor prescribed it. He didn't go find it himself. He didn't go find a herbologist or whatever to give him some. His doctor, whether you call his doctor a kook or whatever the fuck you want to call him, his doctor prescribed it to him, and he told people what he took, and he got better. So if I have cancer and I go down to, he's not alive anymore, I go down to Dr. Sebi, right? And everybody, I don't give a fuck. I'm just giving you an explanation. I'm not going to use Dr. Sebi because people discredit him as a real doctor. I'm just going to say, I go to a licensed American doctor, whoever, and they give me this, and I get healed, even though I use a bunch of other things, but this was in the cocktail of things I used, and I promote it. Am I promoting misinformation, or I'm just telling you what I did? So, like I said, it's just one of those things. I'm not even like this fucking big Joe Rogan defender, but I just see this shit and it looks very familiar. To me, it looks like, hey, we don't like what you're saying. Your audience is too fucking big. They're either going to listen to you or look it up and stuff. We don't even know, but we don't even want people to hear what you got to say. And if you get Joe Rogan banned, how do you think that really goes over to a large amount of people? The guy with the biggest voice, bringing on all these voices, talking about all these things. Y'all ain't willing to have conversations with these people, right? We don't see them on mainstream media talking to the other side rarely. That's why I like Mark Lamont Hill on Black News Channel, because he actually brings people from the other side and speaks with them. It has a dialogue. I'm going to call it a debate. He has a dialogue with them. I like shit like that. But on mainstream TV shows, oh, they're a piece of shit. They're idiots. They love Trump. They do this, da, 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 da. Silence them. Get the fuck out of here. They're racist, da, 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 whatever. So the letter also raised concerns for Rogan's audience demographic. The average age of his audience is 24. And a study from Washington State found that unvaccinated individuals between the ages of 12 and 34 are more likely to be hospitalized than those who received the vaccine. What does that mean? And it's like what I said the other day when I was talking about hospitalization. I'm telling you, Fauci said himself, oh, what's hospitalizations, Fauci? Well, if I go into the hospital with a broken arm and they test me, we'll count that as a hospitalization. I was going to speak about this later when I talk about the mandates, but I feel like this is a good time to play this right now. So this is Bill Maher. He's not a conservative. This is what he had to say to Democrats about how they feel about COVID.
Liberals, the high information by the science people. In a recent Gallup survey, Democrats did much worse than Republicans in getting the right answer to the fundamental question, what are the chances that someone who gets COVID will need to be hospitalized? The answer is between 1% and 5%. 41% of Democrats thought it was over 50%. Another 28% put the chances at 20 to 49. So almost 70% of Democrats are wildly off on this key question and also have a greatly exaggerated view of the danger of COVID-2 and the mortality rate among children. All of which explains why today the states with the highest share of schools that are still closed are all blue states. So if the right-wing media bubble has to own things like climate change denial, shouldn't liberal media have to answer for, how did your audience wind up believing such a bunch of crap about COVID?
So that's that clip, right? Which to me makes a lot of sense because even today, the clip of Joe Rogan and the guy talking about myocarditis and is it more prevalent or is it more rare or will it happen more times when you just get COVID or when you get the vaccine? The article that they brought up said that you could have a better chance of developing myocarditis at a young age if you get COVID rather than if you get the vaccine. Because they say it happens in both, right? People get it when they get the vaccine, people get it when they get COVID. So it happens in both situations. That was one little piece. And they bring that shit up like, oh, look, we got them. But you know what Joe Rogan did? That I respect that a lot of people in the media, when they get caught on their bullshit, they don't do. They break down, okay, well, this happened. You know, I was reading this. So maybe this information here isn't, 100% correct. And then we'll give you a couple more studies. You kind of own up to your shit. I said the last show, that clip that was going around of Rachel Maddow, pretty much the biggest liberal media news person, right? If you look at the ratings that came out, it's mostly Fox News people, and Rachel Maddow's in the mix in there somewhere. And then all the other shit, Don Lemon, Joy Reid, they're all towards the bottom of the barrel as far as views. She got up there in the beginning of the pandemic and told everybody on her station she gets like 2 million viewers per night. You will not be infected if you get the vaccine. You will not spread it if you get the vaccine. I have not once seen anybody call for her to be kicked off her station for because that's misinformation or disinformation, whatever you want to call it. She gave out information that was incorrect. And there's been other people that have given a lot of information on TV that's incorrect. And that's not just the left side, left and right, because we're going to get to Candace Owens in a second. But my thing is, why Joe Rogan? It's because his platform isn't controlled by any one higher up entity, right? He could get on his platform and say whatever he wants. These people that get on these shows, these mainstream, they can't say whatever the fuck they want to say. They say whatever is told to them and they kind of filter it through their own personality. That's how that goes. Because I was talking with Bryce the other day, I was like, if you look at these numbers these people are getting, right? They say, look at Don Lemon, right? I look at the top people. I don't think Don Lemon was even getting 800,000 people watch him a night, right? But he's still getting paid like $7 million a year. How is that? I don't know the money, the TV money. I don't know how it works, but that seems like a lot of money for not getting a lot of views. So it makes me seem like, okay, hey, how much can we pay you to just say this shit that we want you to say? All right, just go say whatever the fuck we want you to say. And then when you find out that you lied, don't back it up. So y'all can spread shit. I see, like I said, I see it all the fucking time. Like everybody talk about ivermectin, his horse pace. And like I said, I don't want to sound like I'm caping for Joe Rogan. I just want accountability on both sides. That's it. I want accountability on both sides. If the people on the left can call people right all day for when they do shit wrong, I think people on the left should also have to be put to the fire and flame when they do shit wrong, not just brushed under the rug and just like not spoken about anymore. That's how I feel. Let me read some of these comments real quick if I go off on a damn rant again. So we got Vicky in the chat. They need to stop trying to control what people can say. It's against human rights. What else we got? They will never say they're wrong. They're not going to say that because they'll find another way to flip it that, he was still white at a Black Lives Matter. He had to go out there in ill intentions, right? That's you just can't be wrong. Troy the photographer says, go in the chat again. Y'all miss me. Vicky says, Biden said we need to be test more and use more masks. Just yesterday, he's obsessed with the pandemic. He doesn't want it to end. And for Joe Biden, it's like, okay. I don't want to, actually, I'll talk about the Supreme Court thing in a second. Let me just top this Joe Rogan shit. I think everybody should be weary. Content creators, even people on Twitter, you should really be weary of if Joe Rogan gets canceled, right? Or banned or whatever the fuck you want to call it. I think everybody, and to me, it seems more like a fear take because if you see a person like Joe Rogan with that amount of audience, with that amount of power, and he gets wiped away, it kind of restricts what you want to say yourself. It makes you think, okay, let me, you know what? This ledge ain't worth it. They banned him. He had fucking 12 million. I only got 7,000 subscribers. He got fucking massive audience. Why would I? They're gonna fucking do the same thing to me. But then I realized also, they won't kill you until you get to a certain level, right? I could be talking all this shit right now with my channel, the people that's fuck with me, salute to the people in the chat, all that shit. They won't see it. They won't give a fuck because they don't feel like I have influence. So what I'm saying really doesn't matter. Once my show gets to a certain level and I'm still saying the same shit, not changing my narrative, I'm saying the same shit I've been saying since I had 7,000 subscribers. That's when you'll see motherfuckers like, okay, we gotta take him down. We gotta get him off there. He gotta go. He gotta go. So what else we got from the chat? If you got thoughts, opinions in the chat, bring them up. We're gonna read them. Lydia says they know a lot of that shit was inaccurate. They're trying to hide it after they scared the hell out of people and making mandates. It will be so much backlash if this comes to light more. People will be cool with it until it's them on the chopping block and the government is stepping on their toes. That's what I say. It's a slippery slope. Because right now, it's something that they agree with, or they're told to agree with, or they're pushed to agree with. But like I said, if you give the government any type of reassurance, like, oh, y'all was cool with that, or they let that shit slide, bet we're gonna keep some shit going. Trevor Stock says, how long they gonna milk this COVID thing? Who knows? If Joe Rogan gets canceled, it's over for a lot of people. Every other week there is a new variant. Yes, they pop up, and that's what my thing is this. We can acknowledge that COVID is a real thing, but also acknowledge that, people are gonna die. You just gotta really kind of hope you're not gonna be one of them people. If you want to get vaccinated, go get vaccinated. If you don't want to get vaccinated, that's your personal choice. That's your decision, and you should be allowed to make that choice. So that just the shit just makes you think, like, because I saw he also on Twitter, like, Glenn Beck the other day was trending. Glenn Beck is a big, like, conservative radio host. He said he got COVID. He said it moved to his lungs, right? And what do you see? I'm talking about Nike in a second. I got that article right here. They're like celebrating. Like, well, he said he was anti-vax. He didn't want to get vaccinated. He got COVID. If he dies, I hope it's karma. It's like evil shit. Like, you don't say shit. Like, I don't care who I do not like, especially not like. It's like, it ain't like I don't like them because they did something to me personally. They stole money from me. They slapped my mama. It's not like something personal. I just don't like how you think. And I don't like that people listen to what you say. So I don't like you. So if something bad, like you die, fuck you. Does that make sense? In a supposed civilized society? I don't like your ideas. I think you're gonna kill people. You don't give a. I keep saying, like, they keep talking about y'all are misinforming. Y'all don't give a fuck about these people. Y'all probably look y'all's nose down at their audience. So y'all don't care about those people. Y'all just want people to listen to y'all. That's all it is. Y'all want people to listen to y'all. They want people to listen to them. So when them people don't listen to y'all blame them. And when they die, y'all are excited because y'all can use it as a talking point. Like, look what happened to him. He didn't get COVID. He died. And then when there's people y'all don't like that get COVID and don't die, y'all still bash them. I.e. Joe Rogan. I.e. Aaron Rodgers. I.e. Tim Pool. They all got COVID, didn't die. But fuck, they didn't die. What can you say? Oh, they're kooks. They're conspiracy theorists still. There's a horse dewormer. We saw it with CNN. Saget Gupta came on. He called him out on the show. Why is your station lying about this when they know it's a medical thing and they know it's not this? Don Lemon got on there with Sanjay Gupta after he was on there. What Don Lemon say? He didn't own up to it, say, yeah, we kind of did. Maybe we did. Like, we shouldn't act like it was horse piss. We should at least let the people know, like, well, it is actually a medical thing. Like, you could say it's a medical, drug, but it's not really for COVID. You could say that and still have the same impact. But no, what Don Lemon say? Well, technically, I mean, they do have it for horses, but that ain't what y'all made it seem like that's what he was taking when it's for horses. But like I said, there's no accountability on that side. That's what be pissing me off. So you know what? Now that you brought that up, I want to bring that up. And I don't know if they're still going to do this after the Supreme Court kind of knocked that shit down as far as the vaccine mandates. But I saw this right before, and I was going to record yesterday, but I had shit to do. So Nike set to fire unvaccinated employees this weekend. According to a report from the Oregonian, I guess that's probably how they say it, Nike will be firing unvaccinated employees this weekend. The company has had a vaccine mandate in place since October. Those who have not yet received any sort of medical or religious exemption will be fired on Saturday. Well, tomorrow. They'll be fired tomorrow. Nike's approach to the vaccine mandates may be met with some resistance from employees and legal, but many legal scholars believe that private employers can adopt government mandates regardless of the court ruling. So pretty much, because Joe Biden did say this, right? Supreme Court struck it down. Supreme Court said, hey, no mandates, it's not constitutional, whatever they decided. But he still pushed states, businesses, still, y'all can still, like, we couldn't make it a federal whatever. We couldn't really do it like that. But you guys still have the power to do it yourself. So he's still pushing on companies to do it themselves. Although the company is set to fire unvaccinated employees this upcoming weekend, Nike did send a warning email to those unvaccinated employees. This is what the email said. You failed to complete the verification process, and our records show that you do not have an approved exemption. As a result, you are not in compliance with the policy, and your employment is scheduled to be terminated on Saturday, January 15th, 2022. An email sent to Nike employee last week. Originally, Nike expected to have employees back in the office on January 10th on a hybrid schedule, but due to the rise in COVID-19 cases, those plans fell through. We do believe that over time, that with innovation and a strong brand, we want to go to a hybrid model, Nike CEO John Donahoe said in a call last month. As you know, in the United States, we have mandated vaccines and have a very, very high response rate to that. So we're ready to come back in a hybrid work environment when that's safe. Based on the Oregonian's report, about 100 of Nike employees have objected to the mandates, but it's unclear how many employees have now been vaccinated. Let's go to the chat before I really go. Screw Nike with all the information that's out, and they choose to do that. Shaking my head. Every day I regret voting for Biden. So you know how I always say, like, you know, hey, leave LeBron alone because LeBron don't got shit to do with China and these things. But we're talking about the company directly now. We're talking about the company that directly deals with China and uses children's slave labor. We're talking about them now, directly, because they do it themselves. So y'all are fine with Chinese slave labor, getting y'all's product for cheap, but you're not fine with having a couple unvaccinated employees that work for you. That's the message Nike's sending out, right? And my thing, if Nike's really about that shit, if y'all want to mandate, don't just mandate motherfuckers that work in the corporate office, mandate everybody. Every motherfucker that work in a Nike store, everybody that if you feel so strongly about this Nike, I'm saying you're not gonna do this either, but if you feel so strongly about it, every athlete that's signed to us, because we care so much about this, every athlete that is signed to Nike, Jordan, whatever other subsidiary they have, if you are not vaccinated, we do not want to do business with you. If you feel so strongly to force your employees to do this. That's my thing. So I see a lot of people saying Starbucks also may have this type of thing going on. I saw in the chat, they said Vans. I mean, gives a fuck about Vans, but you know, they're a big company, Vans. They're doing it as well. But they're corporate employees. Y'all are shit out of luck if you didn't want to get the vaccine. And that would take me to the Supreme Court, right? You know, I want to read y'all's chats real quick before I go on to the next thing about the Supreme Court, because this is going to tie into medical work. So every day I regret voting for Biden. I didn't know about the Nike issue. Kyrie. Yeah, they ain't going to tell Kyrie, get the fuck off the Nike team. You know damn well they ain't going to do that just to look good. Nike. Can someone please tell me how the Democratic Republic of Congo, with a 2.2 vaccinated rate, has 1,255 deaths when Germany, with a similar population size, 73% vaccinated, has 115,000? I mean, that's a lot. I don't know how the Congo's demographic is set up. You know, I don't know how close in proximity. I don't know their demographic to really give a. But that's interesting, because that same thing was like with South Africa. Like South Africa didn't have a high vaccination rate when like we all know now that Omicron isn't as deadly as everything else, but I mean that is interesting. Shaking my head, I'm going to have to buy shoes from Big Lots at this point. Everyone's becoming a hypocrite for the cash. I mean, that's what it is. Like, what you want them to get vaccinated for? What? This is my thing too. This shit's just fucking annoying because shit changes every fucking day. Everybody changes their opinion every day. CDC directors can say whatever the fuck they want to do. They can change whatever. Fauci can say whatever the fuck he wants to say. It's like they can do whatever they want to do. My thing would be the point of a mandate, in my opinion, would be, hey, is if what Rachel Maddow said in the beginning was true. If we knew that you got the vaccine, you can catch it, spread it, whatever, and it would be done with, to me, that I wouldn't agree with it still, but that would make more sense. But the fact that, okay, hey, everybody here has to get vaccines, right? But also, hey, everybody in here can still catch it and spread it. How the fuck does that make sense? To fire it just doesn't make no sense. But I think there's a lot of people that don't know what the fuck this was. And this is the thing. This is a smart thing the media did that I talk about as well. They made COVID a good versus evil situation. So morally, Nike feels good for doing it. Even if it doesn't make no sense, they feel morally good by doing it. Because it looks like they're trying to, do something. So morally, it looks like a good thing to do. As far as a company like Daily Wire, who actually sued Biden and his administration and went to, I don't think they went all the way to the Supreme Court with it. I think they was in the appeals process. Like the case they got struck down in the Supreme Court, I don't think that was the Daily Wire's lawsuit, but they were in the appeals courts that could have got jumped to the Supreme Court as well. But now that one's got kicked down, then doesn't really need to go that high. But still, they was against it. And people will bash those guys and say, oh, y'all are anti-vax, y'all are da-da-da-da. But the main guy on the show, on the station, is Ben Shapiro. And he continues to tell people that he's vaccinated and boosted. So how can a person who openly lets you know they're vaccinated and boosted be an anti-vaxxer? That's nothing they did very good. I couldn't even think the word out. I was trying to use a big fucking word, but they did very good was tie anti-vaccine mandate into an anti-vaxxer. They was able to make those two pretty much the same exact thing. Like, I'm not anti-vaccine. You get it? Great. You don't? Great. Whatever. It's your fucking life. I don't like the mandate shit, right? Because even with this thing, right? Let's read the Supreme Court thing real quick. Supreme Court on Thursday blocked President Biden's plan to require the workers be vaccinated against COVID-19 to undergo weekly testing. But the justices in a separate decision upheld a smaller and more targeted regulation that will require workers in hospitals and nursing facilities to be vaccinated. So they didn't do the big one where, hey, anybody that has over 100 employees, you got to get the vaccine or you got to get tested every week. They shot that down. But they did upheld the one where it said if you work in a hospital or a nursing facility, you have to get vaccinated. So there is a mandate for people that work in hospitals. If you work in a hospital, you work in a nursing home, you got to get vaccinated or you're not going to work there. So in blocking the broader workplace rule, the court's conservative majority agreed with Republican state attorneys who contended the president had overstepped his authority by requiring workers in companies and agencies with more than 100 employees to be vaccinated or tested regularly. There were exemptions for those who worked outdoors or at home or had medical or religious objections. Supreme Court conservatives expressed skepticism of President Biden's mandate that employees be vaccinated for COVID. The vote was 6-3. Biden's rule was based on the Occupational Safety Health Act of 1970, which protects employees from toxins and other dangers in the workplace, right? So they try to tie in all that to COVID. The justice said it does not go so far as to authorize mandatory vaccinations. However, Chief Justice Roberts and Brett Kavanaugh joined with the court's 3 liberals to uphold Biden's testing requirement for hospitals and nursing homes. That requirement is based on the Medicare and Medicaid Act, which authorized federal health officials to set standards to protect the health and safety of elderly and sick patients. Justices Stephen Breyer, Sonia Sotomayor, Elena Kagan said they would have upheld both regulations. So obviously, like when can we stop like the whole like obviously sometimes they kind of go overlap with each other and shit like that because we start acting like when you put people in like if you're a Republican president and you put in a justice, they have like Republican ideals, right? And if you're a Democrat president and you put in a Supreme Court justice, they have Democratic ideals as well. So I don't know why we keep acting like, oh, there's not this and that, but like most times that's how it goes. Even though Brett Kavanaugh and Justice Roberts, who are both appointed by Republicans, voted for the health one, that one I can see how you can make it make more sense than just broadly any business everywhere has to get vaccinated. But I still don't even like it for the hospital thing. Because in a world now we're seeing where hospital staff is overrun. We're short-staffed. Now, what do you think is going to happen? Yeah, there's going to be some people that are going to get vaccinated because, like, fuck, I have to. They're not going to like that. And you know what they're going to do? I keep telling, like, Democrat motherfuckers, like, they're going to blame, like, Republicans and misinformation for the reason that they lose in 2022. But like I said, when you find a way to inconvenience people's lives, whether you think it's for a higher good or not, right? If they don't think it's for the higher good, they're thinking about themselves. If you inconvenience them, they're going to inconvenience you, and you're not going to have the majority. You're just not going to. Because like I said, they're going to look up who's the reason I lost my job, who was pushing for that. They're going to see Democrat. Okay, I don't like you people. I'm not going to vote for you. So my thing was when Biden, he should just push past this. Go to something else. Leave the mandate shit in the past. Get past that because it's not going to work. But I'm excited to see what they use as a reasoning, because there's gonna be a reason they didn't win. And I think actually I know what it is. Now, I'm not gonna really delve too much into this because I don't know what's actually in these bills that they're trying to pass, either on the Republican side or the Democrat side when it comes to this voting thing that's going on. But I honestly feel like they know they're probably not gonna pass it. Kyrsten Sinema already said she's not with the filibuster shit, even though a couple weeks ago she was for the filibuster to increase the debt ceiling. So she was for it a couple weeks ago, but she's not really for voting next. So that's a little bit shifty on her part. Joe Manchin's not really fucking with it either. So when they lose in 2022, the new media spin is going to be they won because they suppressed all you guys' right to vote. Which some of the laws I've seen that were being passed, I think it was in Georgia or some shit like that, or one of these red states, I think that's fucking ridiculous. They put where you're not allowed to give people who are waiting to vote snacks and water. Like, what the fuck does that got anything to do with anything? They can't have fucking snacks and water while they're waiting in line to vote. I think that's a dumb like law to put in. I think that's kind of fucking stupid. I don't agree with that at all. But you know, that's what they're doing. So that's gonna be I feel like they're gearing up. The experts know they're probably going to lose House, probably the Senate. And the reason is going to be, it's because we couldn't pass the Voter Rights Act and because they kicked down the door to democracy, they ruined democracy and they suppressed a bunch of people. That's going to be the thing. That's going to be the reason. So let me read some of these comments real quick. So Callum Bush says, I've been comparing low vaccinated countries, mainly in Africa, to high vaccinated countries of similar population sizes, as I couldn't find any expert professional studies and something doesn't add up. I mean, also, they're saying, what was it? I don't know what countries you're comparing to. Like, I would assume that a lot of countries in Africa, because like I said, obesity is a big deal with dying from COVID. Like, I know they're trying not to say it's not, but it is. Because I read a study as well that said, like, if you look at the country that have over 30% of their population that are like obese, they have the most deaths. That's why a place like Japan, high population, but a lot of people in Japan aren't really fat, so they don't have a high death rate. So when you compare some places in Africa that probably don't have high obesity rates to other countries that are probably a little bit more modernized, and I'm not saying Africa's not modernized, but you know what I'm saying? They probably have more obese people. That's why you see those deaths are higher, right? So what else we got? LOL, like unvaccinated people are dirty and hate other Americans. The evil Biden has spread is probably not undoable. Kanye interview just dropped with Jason Lee. Oh, that's a bit. I don't really like the Kanye. Yeah, I mean, I guess, you know, Vicky, she probably gonna run over there to Kanye. But like the shit going on with Kanye right now to me is like, I don't really give a fuck. Like, salute to Jason Lee. That's a big interview to get. Kanye shit, but like, I don't really know like what Kanye has to talk. I mean, I guess he could talk about Kim. Maybe want to beat up Pete Davidson, like he said in his record. And what else did he just do recently? He beat up somebody, talks about Kim Kardashian, want to beat up Pete Davidson, new girlfriend. Like, I don't really give a fuck about that shit, honestly. So, what else I got here to talk about? So that was pretty much it for the Supreme Court, right? They blocked it. Of course, oh, evil Republican justices, they're evil, they're evil, they're evil. But I kind of agree with what some of them were saying. It was like, y'all want to push a thing like a mandate through because the president said so. And I'm not saying that obviously executive orders happen all the time, but y'all want to push something that affects hundreds of millions of Americans. And they was pretty much saying like, instead of trying to fast track it through us, why don't you actually go to the people that create laws? Why don't you go? Why doesn't the Congress sit down, draft a bill, make it a law, pass the law? Joe Biden could then sign off on the law. Then it becomes law. I think they won't do that because they know they won't have the support. Like, it's easier to just, oh, look, the Republican Supreme Court, they shot it down. They're pieces of shit. Rather than, hey, we got this bill. There's 20 million people in your state that are going to be affected by this. And they may or not vote for you if you say yes to this. So they rather just not have to have it come on their plate. Because I feel like we see like Kirsten Sinema and Joe Manchin. I think there's a lot more people that don't really fuck with a lot of shit going on. That's where the happy shit's not going to vote. Because a lot of them will probably vote no as well. Because we know politics, they're trying to race around for their political lives, right? So that's pretty much what I got on that situation. So that's the last thing about COVID. Now I'm out COVID. I don't like shit like this. We all know Candace Owens. Candace Owens, and I don't like using the word anti-vax, but she just don't fuck with the vaccine. She's not with it. She hasn't taken it. She said she'll never take it. She's against it, right? So we all know that the great dad of Full House died. So she's kind of correlating that death with getting the vaccine. Once again, YouTube, not my words, Candace Owens' words. I'm reading the article, so don't do y'all bullshit. Let me read some of this. So, in an age where we're able to share absolutely anything at the drop of a dime, misinformation spreads quickly. During the pandemic, which doesn't seem to have an end in sight just yet, there have been so many conflicting reports about COVID-19 that the government has implemented immediate fact-checking on social media apps. Political figures and commentators have also been ridiculed in addition to being corrected about their stance on the pandemic, as well as the COVID vaccine. And Candace Owens has been a scathing voice in this circle. So I already set up the article like, fuck her, pretty much. Recently, fans were saddened by the sudden death of Full House icon Bob Saget after the 65-year-old comedian was found dead at the Ritz-Carlton in Orlando. As a medical examiner continues to determine the cause of death, Owens has shared her own theory. I'm just not on Big Pharma's payroll, and I refuse to peddle in their lies. And so to that end, today, I'm going to point out another truth, and it will likely be deemed a conspiracy theory until it's not, said Owens. There are too many healthy individuals like Bob Saget. Now, first of all, saying that, how does she know Bob Saget's health? This is my thing with Bob Saget. Stop using people's death to push your agenda. I just don't like that. Because she doesn't know that this for fact. Like, you can find other situations with the vaccine and, like health-related things and myocarditis and all. You can find other people to point to that actually happened to. But to use this guy as like a stepping stool for your political ideology, I think it's nasty. Just me personally. Just like I think it's nasty when, like I said, Glenn Beck gets COVID and people are like cheering because they're hoping he dies. So they can point to that like, look, another conservative commentator dead. Ha 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 ha. You should have got the vax. So who we know have received the vaccinations, who are dropping dead suddenly and unexpectedly with no further explanation. Healthy athletes, young adults, healthy athletes, young students, and this is a quote, healthy athletes, young students in their physical prime, the majority of them males, dropping dead suddenly and unexpectedly in the middle of games from heart issues. What we know for a fact is that these people are being mandated to take the vaccine. It hasn't been confirmed that Saget's death was linked to COVID or its vaccine, but that didn't stop Owens from speaking as it was factual. That's my thing. Like, if we find out, like, hey, he had myocarditis right after, then you can probably say that. I just don't like using somebody's death as like a stepping stool for your political point. Just like how every time I see people talk about what's his name? What's the guy who shot the girl on set? Alec Baldwin, right? Alec Baldwin shoots the girl. Conservatives love it. They're cheering it. Go to jail. Fuck him. Da da da. If that was like John Voight, who they fuck with, they did that. It was an accident, and they do. Like I said, not just them. Both sides do shit as well. oh my God, we feel so bad for him. I just don't like that shit. Just be real. Like, hey, he's a fucking liberal. Fuck him. He's a piece of shit. Or, hey, he's a conservative. I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt. But like I said with the myocarditis shit, I don't know where her information came from. Where a lot of people are dropping dead. I've seen like people like across the world that are playing soccer and they randomly like pass out and things like that. And you know, I just don't know in Bob Saget's case because from what I've seen, and even she said, shit, healthy athletes and young adults. Bob Saget was 65 years old. The myocarditis thing, from what I've seen, what I've read, doesn't it might there's a rare case it could affect 65-year-olds, but also they say that myocarditis isn't like a super deadly. You can go to the hospital, get it, checked out, figured out, and da like that. So I just think for her to use him in that way, to me, is just nasty. So good what y'all got to say. Honestly, I've wondered if taking vaccines so many times in the 6 month period is a good thing, but I wouldn't use death to open the conversation. Yeah, that's another thing too. Like, that's another thing I thought about too just now when you said that. So, like, with Nike or other companies, right? They say you have to be vaccinated. So, if I have the vaccines now, does that mean every single time there's a new one that comes out, I have to get it or I risk being fired? Because like the Pfizer guy said, oh, we got an Omicron one coming out possibly potentially in March. So like I'm good now, but hey, if you haven't taken the Omicron vaccine by, let's say it comes out in March, by May, is it a ever recurring mandate? Is it a forever mandate? Any vaccine that comes out against COVID, you have to take that, no matter if the stretches is you took 6 vaccines within 2 years. Like, what's that's my thing. Not when's the end of the COVID shit, but like when's the end of the vaccine thing? Because like for people who are unvaccinated, do I start from the beginning vaccine now, or would I start from the Omicron one? Because you would think if I do the Omicron one, that would kind of check me off for all the other ones. And I honestly think they don't know the answer to that either. So that's a good point. Total worldwide deaths from the virus is reported at 5.5 million, which out of a population of 7-8 billion doesn't seem like a deadly pandemic. Influenza kills 2 to 4 million yearly. Cancer, 10 million. I mean, that was it. Brandon Lee was also actually shot dead on the set of a film, The Crow. Yeah, I remember seeing that about Brandon Lee is like Bruce Lee's son, right? Obviously. But I mean, that's the thing. It's like, when do we just live with it? Like, at what point do we just live with it? That's my only a point when we just live with it. Especially like, why do an Omicron vaccine months after everybody's probably already caught Omicron? Like, does that make sense? Because I'm sure there's gonna be a new variant by then. I think that's the question. Like, people are really just tired of it. So they're tired, like, hey, you must do this. We're gonna close on this. We're gonna do that. We're gonna do this. Like, people are just tired of this shit. And they don't want to deal with it no more. Surprised they haven't done COVID cough drops. I mean, I'm surprised. I'm sure it's not like, just do that. Like, I mean, like, like, hey, like we get the cold, like the cold comes around. You always get the flu. You always get this. Like, just do it like that. Like, hey, we got a medication for COVID. It's like you drink it, like NyQuil or Tylenol or whatever the fuck. And hey, we got this you could take if you get a stuffy nose, if you got COVID or this, that. And also, I don't fucking know. It's just like, when is it in? Like, I know Trump got a lot of shit when he was talking about mass testing. Like, we're getting a lot of cases because we're testing. I mean, that's true, because there's a lot of people that are taking tests that don't even have any fucking symptoms. And yeah, they got COVID, but it's the media is allowed to use those numbers to skew the numbers to spread fear. If the media actually told you, like, yeah, hey, 50 million people in America have COVID, but 49,500,000 of those people have no symptoms at all, no fear of hospitalizations. They're fine. This maybe got, like, not even fine. Maybe they got like a flu symptom. They got cold. They got a cough. Is that as scary as just seeing on there 50 million people test positive? It's like, oh shit. With all the other scare tactics, oh fuck, you're gonna be scared. It's like I said, if like this would be a good thing, honestly. If everybody in America went out if they didn't even have symptoms yet, if everybody went out and took, like, I don't know how you screen for cancer or whatever, but just took us cancer screening, we'd probably see a 2,000, 6,000% spike in amount of cancer diagnosis throughout America. Right, it's gonna be that's better because if you got cancer, you want to know maybe catch it early, you can get that shit taken out, you could do chemo, whatever. But that's how it's gonna be. But new information is steadily leaking out every day, and it feels like everybody's grasping for a piece of control. They feel like the control is kind of slipping away, and if the control completely slips away, because like I said, look at Bill Maher. Bill Maher was like, when Trump, he was saying that we should go into a recession and all kind of shit against Trump. But I think once like people start looking at shit like, all right, hold on. I was kind of rocking with the shit in the beginning. It did seem scary. It was kind of the unknown, but now there's more information coming out. Like, what are we really doing here? Like, I see most people on CNN like talk shit about what's going on. I saw one guy who was talking to Sanjay Gupta. They was talking about the hospitalization thing about Fauci. Like, the guy was like, why are we doing that? Why are we mixing hospitalizations of people who got broken arms and no COVID symptoms with people who are actually hospitalized because of COVID? Why are we doing that? Y'all don't think that's misleading to people? We keep talking about this misinformation. Joe Rogan's a misinformation machine. Y'all don't think that's misleading? Y'all don't think that's affected? What do you think is affecting more people's lives? Shit they see on CNN, Fox News, MSNBC about COVID, or listen to Joe Rogan talk to whoever he talks to? Like, honestly. Because, yeah, people listen to Joe Rogan for entertainment and shit like that. But I feel like when people watch the news, they take that shit as like gospel. Maybe not as much as they used to, but a lot of people will use that and run with it. Right? So, who knows when this shit's going to end? We never know. We'll never know. Probably won't end. We'll be doing this shit next year, same time next year. But I honestly do think, like, maybe if they see, like, okay, we're getting wiped out in elections because of this, we need to kind of regroup and rethink. Like, last time they didn't win. Well, they won, but they barely won in 2020, and they got the Senate seat. What they thought it was going to be like a blue wave, like they was going to crush Republicans. They blame like the younger people, like the AOCs, like, oh, those super progressive people, they're making it worse for us. Oh my God. So they always find some excuse to why shit ain't really going for them. Like, our ideas are great. It's just this thing is fucking it up. When it's like, no, you're fucking it up for yourself. And mandates, like, you ain't gotta be like, I'm not a fucking rocket scientist. I'm not a fucking genius. I'm not sitting up here. I went to heart. Like Rachel, they put a thing up, right? They put a thing up to like discredit, like, what's it called? Like conservative talk show people. Like, it was like Glenn Beck, Tucker Carlson, Sean Hannity. It was like college dropouts. And I think it was like Chris Cuomo, Rachel Maddow, somebody else. It was like, she was a Rhodes Scholar. He was a this, he was that. Why we listen to these people at the bottom? It's like, I mean, that's kind of misleading because I could pull up like, like a fucking guy like Ben Shapiro. He went to fucking Harvard. Why not listen to him over these people? But I don't even know what fucking point I was making. I'm just going. I'm just talking. It's just, hey, who knows what the fuck to say? We're just talking. So anyways, let me get to some other shit. Some more like, I don't know if this is because they're pop culture. It's definitely crime culture. But yesterday, or the day before yesterday, I was talking about Yo Gotti, Black Youngster, Young Dolph, his killers. How they acquired Yo Gotti and Black Youngster's lawyer, which to me looked very, very suspicious. So now reports are claiming that attorney Arthur Horn will reportedly no longer be representing Justin Johnson, Cornelius Smith, or any other of the accused killers of Memphis rapper Young Dolph, despite reports previously naming him as their defense attorney. News broke of Horn representing Johnson and Smith this week, which many fans found coincidental after Horn was successful in helping Black Youngster get off the hook after shooting 100 rounds at Young Dolph's car multiple years ago. The attorney took to social media to clear up the rumors that he's working with 3 suspects in Young Dolph's murder case, saying, after reading a few recent articles, watching a half dozen blogs, and skimming through my comment section, I've learned a sobering fact. Misinformation spreads and sells far faster than the truth. There's also an old quote that goes, a lie will make it halfway around the world before the truth even puts its shoes on. Horn responded to a commentator who asked if that meant that he won't be legally representing John Smith, which he confirmed. A new lawyer has not been assigned to suspects, but who will need to find somebody to help defend them once they head to trial. So I guess, they're not getting, they don't got the lawyer. They ain't got the good lawyer. At first, when you saw that, it was fishy. It's like, damn, I'm not trying to say that Black Youngster Yo Gotti got anything to do with it, but, they got the hookup, they got the lawyer. But now it's looking like they got to say, fuck it. Because I could also look at that and be like, maybe your guy seen the heat and he's like, hey, don't represent them because they're going to tie that shit to me. Or maybe he does have nothing to do with it, but he still doesn't want any affiliation with it. So he said, back away, pull away. You're not working with them. I make more money than all three of these motherfuckers. I'm probably need you in the future for whatever other shit I might have to go through. Don't work with them. Stay with me. Chill out. So we'll keep, updated when the Young Dolph shit actually goes to trial, who the lawyers will be, and all those good things like that. So if you can remember last week, I believe, Fresh and Fit did they made a oopsie, right? They disparaged black women, right? They shitted on them. They called them LaQuisha, Shaniquas. They said we're not night riders. We're not. We don't dabble in the dark. All these things, right? Sounding like white boys that would be on a Spaces room back when it was cool for white supremacists to be on Spaces. That's what they sounded like. That's what it looked like. So now I just saw this clip yesterday, and I don't condone this shit either. But they did say that people were hypocritical when it comes to other races. And I know that. I already know that. When it comes to white people on the shade room, they don't go fuck. They're going to tear their ass up. So they did some kind of show with some guy named Farrah Gray, and another guy got on. His name was like something Zulu Muhammad. And this is what he had to say to Fresh and Fit.
These two brothers, they just love them some cracker women. They just love them some blonde-haired, blue-eyed, pink-toed, pale-skinned, buttermilk complexion, ironing board backside, Caucasoid mutanoid.
So he went on, did I just get taken now? He said the C word, and I know I'm streaming on Twitch as well. I know I can't say the C word on Twitch, so I'm not gonna, do it. But that's what I'm saying. He used those words to describe white women. When everybody's arguing about Fresh and Fit it's not about preferences, Fresh and Fit. Y'all can just say y'all like this, and that. Y'all got to disparage to uplift whatever you like, right? And this guy, obviously, to let Fresh and Fit know that they were, Uncle Tom, whatever the fuck he was calling them. He called Myron the Sambo from Sudan because he didn't, he doesn't prefer black women, but he disparaged all the white women. And this is interesting to me because like last week we seen like people was crying about it, and now this is the comment section from the blog that I got it from. His descriptive adjectives ate them up. Literally the most professional insulting read ever. Sheesh, I know that's right. A read, yada yada yada. But last week it was, oh my God, you can't disparage another group to uplift another group. You can't do that. That ain't no social media full of shit. They don't give a fuck about they subset of people. You can't disparage me, but we can disparage everybody else, right? So in that aspect, and it doesn't look good. It looks bad. I get you, like I'm assuming he's like, damn, Tiffany had breaking news. Tiffany Haddish arrested for DUI in Georgia, allegedly asleep at the wheel. That's just something that popped up from TMZ. Anyways, that sounds disgusting to describe white women like that. It's just a sorry way of getting insecure black women to like him. Yeah, because they're like, oh, he's a defender. He's this, he's that. He might not even date black women. I don't know this guy. I've never heard of him. He has the name of somebody who seems like they read a lot of books and they did a lot of things like that. But like he could have just said, man, you brothers is tripping. Y'all don't like black women because y'all love white women. I don't got to give him no other terms. I ain't got to call him flatback, booty back, no ass, whatever the fuck, mahumbazoid, cockazoid, whatever the fuck that is. That definitely sound he read that in the old textbook. But whatever that is, he didn't have to do that. And he did it. And it was just interesting. It's always interesting to see because the same blogs, the same, obviously those aren't the same. Like I didn't read those people's comments whenever Fresh and Fit did, and the same exact people said that. But the overwhelming majority of comments, like it's bad to disparage, but then now it's good to disparage. It just doesn't make too much sense to me. And it'd be different if it was like these were some white women that were saying that shit. Can Zulu speak Zulu? Uka was Uka Humalu. All right. You can say I'm a white Zulu as I grew up in KwaZulu Natal, South Africa. All right, big dog. I don't know what the fuck you talking about, but I feel you. If you from Africa, you from Africa. But anyways, in that instance, I think, Fresh and Fit, they're correct in their description of, how people would react if this were white people. Y'all wouldn't give a fuck. But we know that. Like, I'm not a fucking idiot. I know if it was, they said like disparity by Latinas, it wouldn't blow up, wouldn't go crazy. But the thing that happened good for Fresh and Fit is that now anytime they post, they get posted on these blogs. You know why? Because now the blogs see that Fresh and Fit are a lightning rod for conversation. They're a lightning rod for engagement. I saw them post a video of a guy who was saying that women are less valuable to men as they have more babies, right? And from what I heard in the context, that wasn't that, hey, me and my wife have 5 kids, my wife is less valuable. The context of the conversation was most men don't want to date another woman who has a lot of other kids by either another man or a bunch of other men, which as a man, I'm married, so I'm kind of out of that conversation. But I ain't gonna lie. If I met a woman and she had 2 other children, I'd probably be less inclined to date her. I'm not saying that nobody would date her, but I might be less inclined to. And then if you add extra fathers to the mix, I can see how I wouldn't want to deal with that either. Because now I got to deal with you, your 2 kids, and potentially they 2 daddies. It's too many hands in the pot. I ain't got time for it. And also, that's just something that's been going on since the old days. I don't know if any of you guys who watch this right now watch the show Bridgerton, right? Bridgerton was a show that came on Netflix. It's like old school England or whatever. And it was like pretty much the entire series was, hey, we're doing like this. It's kind of like mating thing where they were like trying to find suitors for the girls. Like the girls are here in the high value, whatever the fuck you want to call them, princess, dukes, Dutch, whatever. They're trying to mingle. They're trying to link up, have arranged marriages, and do that. One girl who was the most beautiful of all was a black girl. She came. Everybody was attracted to her, but she was pregnant by some, I don't know who, from wherever she was from. The whole thing was her trying to hide that pregnancy because once the men in this area, this collective found out she had a baby by another man, they don't want her. And that's how a lot of people feel leading up to this day. I don't see nothing wrong with that. Now that you can say, like, I don't want no fucking baby mama bimbo. You got to say all that shit. They didn't even say that, but I'm just saying. But you can get your point across without doing all the extra shit. They aren't correct. They aren't correct. Society and them are just... What do you mean they aren't correct? Society and them are just wrong. I do think that's how a lot of people would feel. Like, it's not to say that there aren't men, because obviously there's men that will marry a woman that has kids and take, like, we've seen it. It's not like it's not a real thing. But I do think a lot of people be less likely inclined to do so than a woman who doesn't have any kids at all. Or obviously it's just your wife. Like, if my wife had 5 kids, I don't see a dip in value on my wife. Like, she's the mother of my children. She's raising my children. We're building an empire together. That's different. But like, if you just walk up to a random girl, she says, hey, I have 2 kids. Some guys, we see the movies all the fucking time. So I don't think that's wrong. But like I said, now the blog sphere that was on Instagram that wasn't dealing with Fresh and Fit now realize that Fresh and Fit bring conversation to their blogs. Like, I think that video of the guy saying that the pregnancy thing, I think that video had like 3,000 comments, like 250,000 views. So for them, that's golden because they'll use that information as engagement to sell to advertise. So they're going to keep posting Fresh and Fit. People are going to continue to watch Fresh and Fit. Like last night, I watched the episode they had. Like, I talk shit about them, but I also still watch their shit because they had an interesting guest on. They had Tommy Sotomayor on. I was like, okay, let me see how this Tommy Sotomayor Fresh and Fit combo, what do they get into? What do they discuss? And that's how it goes. So I think that's all I got for that. Like I said, I'm going to talk about Corday's album next week. Oh, yeah. I didn't even say this. Me and Bryce are doing, if you want to come kick it tomorrow night, we talk about this on the Absolute Sure podcast on Wednesday. Tomorrow, we're going to do it. Fuck it. We're going to have fun. Jay-Z. I'm Jay-Z. He's Lil Wayne versus, I keep burping. He got his 20. I got my 20. Tomorrow night, 9:30. Be here. If you want to link up, you want to talk about it, if you want to be a judge, we're going to be here tomorrow night doing the Jay-Z versus Wayne versus 20 songs only. We doing the hits. So if you're a Jay-Z fan, you say, why did you play this B-side track from 19? Hey, I'm playing the hits, and that's it. So tune in tomorrow. I'm sorry for missing yesterday. I'm trying to be daily, but, we here today. It was a long hour episode. I appreciate everybody for watching. I appreciate you for subscribing. I appreciate you for liking the video as well. Make sure you also, Spotify and iTunes, just search up D-Friend Daily right there. You get this audio on SoundCloud, Spotify, iTunes. Also follow my social medias, D-Friend Daily. You guys have a great rest of your day. See you guys tomorrow. If you come for the Jay-Z versus Wayne, I'll see you tomorrow. If not, I'll see you Monday. It's your boy D Friend.